we go. How the heck are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Sunday. There's no football today, but we got some news to talk about. Little rumors. Brandon Aiyuk, Chase Young, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's smoke season, and when it's smoke season, rumors persist throughout the NFL, and today's no different. Today, if you've been living under a rock, let me exactly explain to you what is going on. There's been some rumors with Brandon Aiyuk. Obviously, a lot of people are speculating this and that and the other. We're going to talk all about it. How's it going, everybody? How's the chat doing? Ronnie says hi. Say hi, Derek. Hi, Derek, from your boy, Raj. How you doing, Ronnie? How you doing, Devin? How is everybody feeling today on a nice Sunday? I'm about to leave after this live and go enjoy the weather. Go enjoy the day. It's nice. There's nothing to do, so you got to fill your time somehow. I was watching this Warriors Boston game. Boston was cruising. Probably going to head out during the second half. But anyways, there were some rumors today. Dan Graziano of ESPN. Dan Graziano. That's his name. I'm going to say it like that. He came out. There's all these reports today. And the rumor, of course, this is Brandon Aiyuk is a trade candidate if they're unable to agree to a new contract. Obviously, there's going to be speculation. It's smoke season. They're going to say, oh, man, he's a trade candidate. Keep your eyes open. Well, to me, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. Like, if a player can't reach a contract, what are they going to do? Keep him on the team, be upset? No, they're going to trade him. So it's not like a crazy, update. It's no breaking news. It's just common knowledge. But, of course, this report surfaced today. There he's got the panties in it. But, oh, my God. Oh, are they going to trade Brandon Aiyuk? Nah, yeah, they're not. Unless they can't find a trade, part of it. That's just common knowledge, right? So, Dan likes to bring things up, it's the smoke season, it's the off season. These rumors are going to persist. So to me, I was like, whatever. But to me, the big nugget of the day was Ian Rappaport. Ian Rappaport said that they are, look for a contract extension after the off season or after the free agency period during the off season. So, at the end of the day, a lot of people have been speculating stuff, but if you listen to what John Lynch said over the combine, he basically said, he's a high priority. They want to keep him. And you know what? I believe John Lynch. I don't think he's just giving us lip service. I think he's telling it like it is. And Ian Rappaport, again, he kind of came out there and said what he had to say today. So we're going to play that video. And hold on. We got to get a moderator in here because this guy's getting out of control. If you're going to just keep spamming the chat, I'm going to have to delete you from the page. So please, Dom, Ronnie, you guys need to just stop spamming the chat, okay? We got some things to talk about. Let's get to what Ian Rappaport said today on NFL Network.
Frenzy also means trade frenzy, also means contract extension frenzy, which is not quite as catchy, but still something important to the guys who are likely going to get deals, including Brandon Aiyuk, the star receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. He kind of raised some eyebrows, I would say, a little bit at the end of the season, leaving his future open with the team. My understanding is, obviously, there are teams who would like to trade for the very, very talented young receiver. The 49ers firmly believe he is in their plans. I would expect them to get to work on a new deal for him probably after free agency.
Well, I think that's, that was a welcome sight that the cap was going up. I think the thing you have to understand, it went up for everyone, so it's not like unique to our team. But we have some challenges. We have a lot of good players who we've rewarded. Brandon's one that we think incredibly highly of. One of my favorite just guys around our building, the way he approaches the game. He's a competitor. He's a warrior. He plays with such a physicality, also with a grace, the way some of the positions his body can get into. And then he's got a flair for making plays when it matters most, and he's served us very well as a franchise. And I think we've got a nice track record of extending the players that are important to us. And Brandon's a guy we want to keep around for a long time.
So if you listen to what Rappaport said, if you listen to what John Lynch said, they pretty much go hand in hand. The 49ers are really invested on him. And at the same time, the 49ers really want to make sure that they get this extension done after free agency. And I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have any issues. I don't think we're going to have any worries regarding getting Brandon Aiyuk back. Now, I know there's some people that still would like to trade him because there's so many great receivers in this draft class. But you got to ask yourself this question. Would any of these receivers be better than Brandon Aiyuk immediately coming out of the draft? Would any of these receivers help this team get to the Super Bowl right away, right? Can this team win without Brandon Aiyuk? I think Brandon Aiyuk is very important, and you got to realize how much he helped this team in general. And I don't think any rookie, and as good as because there's some really good rookies. We saw the combine yesterday. Players were flying. We had a guy, break the all-time 40 record, but none of those guys are as polished as Brandon Aiyuk, especially a rookie. And, you got to be able to block. You got to do so many things in Kyle Shanahan's system, and it's tough to become a top receiver in Kyle Shanahan's system. Again, yes, they would save money, but would you really better yourself if you trade away Brandon Aiyuk for a young receiver? I don't think so in the long run. And you got to remember, a couple years ago, cautionary tale, the 49ers traded DeForest Buckner because they wanted to go the cheaper route and keep Armstead and keep Jimmy Ward and stuff. And I love those guys, and I'm glad they were able to get them. But you never know what would have happened if they would have kept DeForest Buckner, right? They had to get Javon Kinlaw, and it's not his fault he got hurt, but unfortunately, the pressure mounted on his shoulders. They had to replace DeForest Buckner with Javon Kinlaw, and it didn't work out. So imagine they go and trade Brandon Aiyuk. You get another receiver. That's a lot of pressure to become this top wide receiver on the team. So I don't think they should trade him. I know there's going to be a lot of reports. Oh, they should trade. There's. I don't think they should. I don't think they will, and I'm pretty sure, just like John Lynch said, and just like Ian Rappaport said, they're going to reach a deal. They're going to be, getting it done. Rappaport says after free agency. The only thing I want is to make sure they don't wait too long. I don't want it to go into the offseason, like way deep into training camp. That's what I don't want. I hope they get it done. I'm pretty sure Brandon Aiyuk loves this team. He wants to go and train with Brock Purdy and all that stuff. So I think that will be fine. And I think that Brandon Aiyuk will get the job done. With the front office, they'll reach a contract extension. We're all going to be hyped. We're going to be singing in the rain, and we're going to be hyped up and doing our dance backflips. We're going to be, hyped out of our mind. I just hope it doesn't last into the training camp, So my man Terrence says, what scares me is whenever a player gets their deal done, the first year of that deal, they don't have a great season. And that's why I want to stress that I hope they get this deal done earlier rather than later, because what happens is the players can't train as hard as they want to. They want to make sure they don't get hurt. They got to keep their bodies safe. It's an investment in themselves, so they don't train as much, and then they come into camp a little behind the 8 ball, and I guess they're a little rusty or they're not in shape. So absolutely, I agree. I think that they need to make sure they get this deal done ASAP, right? And sooner rather than later. You don't want to wait, because I agree with Terrence. The players don't always play the same after their first year. The big money. Some of them are. I mean, they're still good. Like Nick Bosa was still good this year, but at the end of the day, he started out very slow, right? Deebo Samuel, he got a little injured. He wasn't in his top form when he got his contract. Fred Warner, he started out a little slow, So they come out the gates a little slow because you're not really focusing on your training. I think they got to make sure they get that deal done. So absolutely. Jalen Henderson says they have to restructure the contracts like Hargraves. I think they'll restructure deals like Arik Armstead, Deebo Samuel, things like that. Some of these bigger contracts, Hargrave. Now, I know this is just me spitting stuff out there, just assuming it's smoke season. We gotta drop some smoke out here, some takes. I think that Arik Armstead, if he doesn't restructure his contract, maybe he's a guy they get rid of. Maybe he's a guy they trade. He's 10th year in the league. A lot of injuries piling up. I could see them trading him and moving for a younger defensive lineman, because, I mean, there's some studs at the DT position in this draft. They got 11 draft picks. Maybe that's where they go and cut some money and get some flexibility. I don't know. Not a lot of people are talking about Armstead being that type of candidate. There was an article by Mike Silver last week, a little report, and it says, there's going to be some tough decisions here and there. Maybe Armstead's the tough decision they're going to have a big talk with. I'm sure they'll restructure his contract. I'm pretty sure they will. If he does it, maybe they can move him around. I mean, I love Armstead. I think he was fantastic in the playoffs, but he is getting a little older, and he has had some injury history. So that, to me, if I had to make a bold take, if I had to make an assumption, like one big prediction, I think that's the guy they can move and afford to move, because you can get a young defensive tackle that can plug the gaps like Armstead. And I mean, Armstead's a great captain. You're going to lose the leadership, but that's a guy that might be expendable. So what can you get from Armstead, a third and fifth round? Maybe a later round, but it's not necessarily the pick that you're going to really benefit from getting rid of him. It's more so the cap relief because Armstead's contract is loaded. So I think more so getting the draft pick from him would help in loading out the cap space, so you could sign other people, free agents, because they need offensive linemen. So I think that's kind of where they go. So Mimi says, stop with the trade Aiyuk talk. It doesn't matter if there's good wide receivers in the draft. It's not a guarantee they can do everything that Aiyuk does. Absolutely. And that's where I'm at. I mean, I think it's crazy. Like, yes, there's some great receivers. People get little recency bias. You watch the combine and you think everybody is a star. Oh my God, he's great. Oh my God, he ran a 4.41. Like, that's fantastic. I could never do what these guys do. They're fantastic athletes. They are great. And some of them are going to be beautiful receivers. They're going to be great receivers in this league. They're going to be dynamic. They're going to be the next star in the league. But to think that any one of those receivers could come in right away, day one, and do what Brandon Aiyuk does, who's really put himself in position over years of training, years of working out in the NFL weight rooms, and years of, off-season preparation, film study, all that. I don't think any receiver could just come right in and replicate what Brandon Aiyuk can do. So I agree with Mimi. I don't want to trade Brandon Aiyuk for that very reason. It's hard to replace a proven product, a proven star in the league. So my man, Hey Peter Parker says, BA got that dog in him. He does. Russell says, you don't free up much. Armstead has $25 million in dead money. But yeah, that is true. But you get him a little, again, as dead money is crazy, but you can still maybe save something. I mean, that is a lot of money that Arik Armstead is being thrown onto this this deal. That again, that was a contract that's going to eat them up. And if he does stay around this year, that's a guy that might not have too long of a future. So they do need to get some defensive linemen, regardless if they keep Armstead or not. And I talked about this the other day. Defensive line has been a hot commodity for the 49ers. In my opinion, I think it's a position they really got to focus on. I know everybody wants O-line, and I think they're going to go focus on that. But remember, Chase Young, free agent. Clelin Ferrell's a free agent. Randy Gregory's a free agent. Drake Jackson's coming off surgery. Clelin Ferrell, the free agent, is also coming off surgery. Arik Armstead coming off surgery, and Javon Kinlawn's a free agent. It's a lot of defensive linemen. So that's all I'm saying. They got to figure something out with the whole defensive line position. And today, there he is, Dan Graziano, my guy. He's getting two shout-outs tonight. Dan Graziano, he says that Chase Young, let's shift to D-line, right? He says that the 49ers have some interest in bringing back edge rusher Chase Young. Obviously, a lot of people think he's a bit of a disappointment last year. He was kind of inconsistent. He turned it on during the Super Bowl. He had a great game against Jacksonville, good first impression, but he was a little bit inconsistent throughout the year. But Dan Graziano says that the 49ers have some interest in Chase Young, in re-signing him. And you might have to give him a one-year prove-it deal, right? That might be the way the 49ers were to bring – if they are going to bring back Chase Young, according to Dan Graziano, it's got to be a one-year prove-it deal for Chase Young. That's the way it makes sense for the 49ers. I don't think they're going to give him a multi-year extension. I agree with what Dan says. We'll see. If he does, it really depends on his market. If he's going to be fielding contracts and he gets multi-year deals that are going to be out of the 49ers price range, definitely don't think he's coming back to the 49ers. That's kind of what I've been thinking over the last couple of months or a couple of weeks, really, since the Super Bowl was ended and people are asking, do you think Chase Young's coming back? I don't necessarily think he is, but if he can't really find the deal he wants and the 49ers are happy with bringing him in on a one-year prove-it deal, a little cheaper value, then yeah, I guess it does make sense. And that's why I could see them having some interest. Nick Bosa wants him back. We know their chemistry. Bosa loves his boy, the Buckeye bookends. Maybe he'll play hard this season. He did play really good in the Super Bowl. Maybe a second year with the Niners to kind of get up to speed and really feel more comfortable with the team. Maybe it'll do him wonders. Who knows? But it's interesting to see Chase Young. We're not going to really know his market for another week or so, but there's definitely going to be some interest from other teams. But how much is he going to field I mean, he's been a little inconsistent, so it is kind of it's gonna be interesting. The Niners definitely do need that edge spot on the other side of Bosa. Again, Drake Jackson coming off an injury. Um, they need some depth on that D line. So Terrence says sign Chase and Kinlaw for a 1-year prove-it deal. See what we can do. If they don't release Joey Bosa could be a guy that the Chargers get rid of, and the 49ers could bring him in. I mean, there's definitely rumors on that. But can he stay healthy? That's another guy. I think Joey Bosa would be great for a 1-year prove-it deal with the Niners. I wouldn't give him a multi-year contract at all because he has to prove he can stay healthy. You know what I mean? So Christian Martinez says Kalia Davis showed some promise. He did. His second year in the league, his first real year, because his first year was an ACL redshirt basically. So we'll see what he can do for this team. But again, they definitely need some depth. I don't expect Kalia Davis to go from the limited snaps he played to become a full-time starter right away. I just don't see it. It doesn't work that way, right? Mimi says I would like to bring Young back on a heavy incentive contract. Yeah, heavy on the incentives. That's right. If he could come back and they load it with, you play this many games, you get this many sacks, production-wise, I guess that's a good deal. That's a good way to put it, too. And the 49ers definitely like to put these incentive-laden contracts out there. So Supreme says get a right tackle with the first pick. I think that they're definitely going to go into this draft with the offensive line mindset. If they don't, we'll be surprised. But you never know with this team, right? I definitely think they'll get at least 2 linemen, right tackle, at least a tackle, early on. But it really depends on who they feel is best for their team. I wouldn't be surprised if they take the lineman maybe in the second round and take a defensive end in the first round if he's a better player. Like, if, for example, and I don't think he'll be available, but if imagine Chop Robinson, let's say he's there at 31, he would probably be the best available player at that point. You got to take him over the O-lineman who may not be as good as a Chop Robinson, even though you need the O-line. So I'm a big proponent of best player available in the draft, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting. The 49ers don't have Adam Peters in the front office this year, so we're going to see how the draft changes this year. So Russell Garcia says, I'd be about bringing back young Kinlaw Farrell. Yeah, I love Clelin Ferrell. I think he did a good job setting the edge, good run defender. Hopefully he can recover from that knee injury, meniscus surgery. Kinlaw played really good last year. He was healthy for the first time ever in his career. He started to develop, really well last year. Good depth, and, maybe a 1-year deal. I wouldn't hate bringing Chase Young back on a 1-year deal, but I just need to see him be more consistent. But then if you look at that, you had the same defensive line that you had last year. Are they going to be as productive as they were last year? I don't know. And down the stretch, they really were productive, but there were some injuries. So you got to hope that they can stay healthy. You still need depth, but I wouldn't hate it if the 49ers brought those 3 guys back either. So we'll see. My man Russell says, I like Mims out of Georgia at the end of the first. He's solid. Definitely would be a great offensive lineman to add to this team, but I don't know if he'll be available at 31. 31st pick is kind of a second-round pick. I feel like if the 49ers want a quality, like an elite, really starter quality offensive tackle, they're going to have to trade up. That's the kind of vibe I feel, and I wouldn't be surprised if they trade up. Now, we'll see how the rest of this offseason goes. We'll see how free agency goes, because they might sign some guys in free agency. But I feel like if the 49ers definitely want to get a quality offensive tackle in this draft, they need to trade up. Top 15 pick. So we'll see. Hey, Peter Parker says, I'm taking 3 offensive linemen and 3 defensive linemen in this draft. No questions asked. I think that's a great deal. You need depth in the trenches. I love it. 6 picks in the trenches. Terrence says Kool-Aid is out of the question. I don't think he's out of the question. He had a Jones fracture, so that might drop his stock. Definitely think he's a guy that the 49ers would love to get. Might actually be helping the 49ers case in getting Kool-Aid McKinstry, because he might drop. Might be out of the first round with the Jones fracture. That might affect his stock. He's a great player, great cornerback. 49ers definitely need to look at somebody to get to bolster that secondary in the nickel spot. I know they talked about Darrell Luter and Womack, specifically Luter. So we'll see what happens. Showboat says, will the Niners look to get through the season load management and then turn it up in the playoffs like the Chiefs did? I don't think you can afford to play load management. I mean, yeah, it's crazy that the Chiefs were able to kind of coast by and get to where they needed and then turn it up in the playoffs. But I don't know. I just don't think that's the smartest In football, I feel like load management isn't always the best strategy, but I feel like they just need to make sure they have a lot of depth to keep their stars healthy. You know, you got to have some guys for CMC to kind of lean on. You need somebody for George Kittle to lean on, and it's a tough. The NFL is tough. It's a grind, man. So you just need to have good depth. I don't know if you can imagine if everybody took like games off, like LeBron. Oh, well, I ain't gonna play this game. Load management, and it's your star player. Like Aiyuk didn't play, CMC didn't play. I don't think that works. But we shall see. So to recap, the big news of the day, not really big news, but the news of the day is obviously there's a lot of rumors saying that the 49ers could trade Brandon Aiyuk if they don't reach a contract extension. I mean, that's not really news to me, but people just drumming up, engagement. And then the actual report from Ian Rappaport today on the NFL Network during the combine, he says that the 49ers are planning to work on the contract extension for Brandon Aiyuk after the free agency period is done. And then, according to Dan Graziano, again, the same guy that reported the rumor of Brandon Aiyuk this morning, Dan Graziano says that the 49ers have some interest in bringing back Chase Young, most likely a 1-year prove-it deal. So that's kind of what the more recent news of the last couple of days is. Obviously, the team's focused on the NFL Combine, and they just hired their defense coordinator, Nick Sorensen. I'm sure we've all talked about it. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. I talked to some of you yesterday when the news dropped, and they hired Brandon Staley as the assistant head coach. What do you guys think of it? Drop some comments in there. What do you guys think overall? Give me a rating. Give me a grading. And we'll talk about that for a few minutes, and then we'll probably head out. We'll keep this simple for 30 minutes. Not too much of a live, not too much to talk about, but I wanted to kind of hop on here and talk to you a little bit. So Mr. Sack 916 says, rest in peace, Chris Mortensen. Yeah, that's sad news. I saw that about 30 minutes, right before I hopped on here. Saw that news, man. I don't know if a lot of you youngins or any of you, watched ESPN back in the day, but Chris Mortensen was a big part of ESPN, and I remember growing up watching everything on ESPN, and sad times, man. So rest in peace, Chris Mortensen. Let's see. Ask Joe says, can't complain, but I don't know. The moves feel kind of weird. Russell Garcia says, I'm going to stay at B- right now. Mr. Sachs says he had good articles on the 49ers. He definitely did. He's just great, man. Good in sports journalism. He was amazing. Dave McNiner says, what's good, Raj? Say no to James Richard Garoppolo. I don't think he's coming back at all. I know there's some people that drop that name around here. He's long gone from the Niners. Mimi says, I played it safe with someone in-house. Staley is just a bonus. I mean, yeah, definitely played it safe. You get a guy that knows the system. You're not going to really change the dynamics of the defense. I think it was the best available coach out of the people you interviewed. And Kyle and John Lynch have said many times they don't want to change the system. They don't want to change how things are done. They want to keep it pretty much the same. And I think they accomplished that with Nick Sorensen. He's been on this team for a couple of years now. He understands the system. He's coached with the Seattle Seahawks several years back. So he understands the concepts, the system, and he coached with D'Amico when he was here with the team. And Brandon Staley, a lot of people hate the guy. A lot of people think it was a horrible hire, but he wasn't hired on as a coach, like a DC or a head coach or anything, assistant coach. So he's just going to be there to mentor, give some new ideas, some fresh, different, insights on things. Now, I don't think he's going to really have too much control of decision making, but I think he's just going to be there to be a helping hand for Nick Sorensen. He's going to assist the defensive coordinator. That's what his job is. And I think sometimes having new insight might help. Maybe he'll tell Kyle to go for it on fourth down. Definitely a hire that has really ruffled a lot of feathers in the 49er community. So we'll see. We'll see. It's basically they got two guys to do one job. Sometimes two guys is better than one. You never know. Again, yesterday I wouldn't say I was like upset or anything about the move. I just was not. I wasn't like hyped. I wasn't like, oh man, look, they just signed Nick Sorensen. Oh man, like I wasn't necessarily surprised because I thought Brandon Staley was going to be the DC, And, I still thought they'd be leaning toward the in-house based on their interviews. I wasn't really surprised. I was just more like not thrilled, I guess is the word. I wasn't like wowed. And I think we were all looking for that wow factor as you fired Steve Wilkes. It was this big thing. You had a 16-day, interview process. It was a long little tedious process. There was a lot of secrecy, and I just wasn't wowed. But I feel like the 49ers did try to go for some big names. Obviously, the big report on Spags was out that they tried to get him, but obviously he went back to the Chiefs and he extended with them. And I'm sure there's going to be more news that follows this and shows us who they were really trying to get. But I guess they just didn't get the big names and they went with the safe route. So it's not bad. Nick Sorensen knows the system. The defense isn't going to change at all, ladies and gentlemen. We're still got the same talent and we have the same defensive scheme. If anything, we'll at least be the same as what we were last year. So, but we'll see what happens with it. I hope that the 49ers can have a good free agency. That's what's next. Combine is done. Free agency is basically in a week. Crazy. I think in a week from now. So Monday, a week from tomorrow, a week from Monday is the legal tampering period officially. And then the Wednesday of that week, so the Wednesday following this week is the start of free agency. We're that close, ladies and gentlemen, to free agency. So stay tuned. Hang on to your seats. Buckle up. It's about to get a little. It's about to get a little crazy. About to get some good news. Couple of weeks. We're going to see a lot of reports. Smoke season's about to heat up. I feel like smoke season hasn't really bubbled over too much this year. It's been kind of ho hum, but there really hasn't been a lot to speculate. The 49ers don't have much drama this year. They lost Super Bowl. The team's pretty much intact. Brandon Aiyuk. That's the one big rumor. We got a lot of free agents, but I feel like the Niners will do what they got to do to bring them back, the ones they want. And then there's really no quarterback conundrum like there always has been. We know who the heck our starting quarterback is, and there's no drama on that. I kind of love that, actually. So, and then Supreme hit it. Yeah, next month, NFL draft. The offseason's rolling, baby. The offseason's rolling. Caveman says Dave Merritt was mocking Kyle. Yeah, we talked about that video the other day. Crazy. Maybe Kyle saw that and was like, I don't want this guy. Yeah, he definitely mispronounced Aiyuk. I saw that video. We were talking about it the other day. That was wild. It wasn't like he said anything that was not factual. I think whatever Dave Merritt said was very factual. I think he kept it 100. But yeah, it was definitely a weird vibe to have. Like, that video trending when he just had an interview. Like, it was weird time. Like, that was the weirdest time to drop a video, because I remember the day before, it was like the day before Dave Merritt interviewed for the head, the DC job, and literally the next day there's a video of him basically ripping Kyle and the defensive system and like his offense during the Super Bowl. I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. So the timing was definitely funky. So we'll see what happens though next couple of weeks. You guys stay tuned. Have a good rest of your day. I just want to hop on here, say what's good. Love the vibes. Love the channel. Love the faithful. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's Sunday. Have a blessed rest of your Sunday. And hopefully we get some good news in the next couple of days. And again, just to go over the whole Aiyuk situation, rumors are saying if they don't reach a deal, they're going to trade it, look for a trade offer. That's common knowledge with any player. If they can't reach a deal, they're going to look for trade offers. But Ian Rappaport says they're going to look for a contract extension after free agency. My guess is they're going to get this done. They're going to hammer it out. And I don't think there's any issues. I think the 49ers will make sure they keep BA, number 11, in the red and gold, ladies and gentlemen. You have a good rest of your day. Make sure you hit that like button. I love you. Bang, bang. Niner gang.